Hey family, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I am Elizabeth Asia. To my new subscribers, I just want to welcome you all, and to those that have been rocking with me for a while now, I just want to thank you guys for your support. I've been away for about a month. I didn't really plan to, but life got hectic, and so um, I've been in a season of just rest and wanting to receive what God has for me in this season. And so I was just in a place where things got really loud. Um, Relationships got really loud. The doing was really busy, going from place to place, work, striving, trying to navigate relationships and things like that. And the Lord just really took me under his wing, so to speak, and just said, rest, daughter, rest. And so that's what I've been doing in this season, just working on receiving um, in that time of rest, receiving God's grace. And that was really profound for me because I was kind of just in an environment where I wasn't feeling gracious. I was feeling more religious and more legalistic, and I wasn't feeling grace. And so um, when God slowed me down, He started lavishing grace on me in such a way that I just felt this extreme love and empowerment, and I felt like everything's gonna be okay. I can take a time of rest. It's okay. I can pull away from different things and just receive God's grace for me. So that's what I did, and um it was really good. If you guys are following, watch my video about grace, because that is like what God was teaching me in real time. And so I'll link it in the description if you want to know more about that subject. But after that time of grace, I kind of went through a shame spiral. And um, for those of you that don't know what a shame spiral is, it's basically just where something from the past or something traumatic triggers you, and it starts making you feel like negative or self-hatred, or unlovable or unworthy, and you just start looping into this cycle of thought. And what it does is it's really an attack on your identity, because what the enemy is trying to do is trying to pull you back into the old person that you were, the person of the past. And you see, I didn't really understand what a shame cycle was, because um, I just I just knew when I would feel these ways that I was like under a spiritual attack, and I would go get prayer from like my elders in church and things like that. But nobody ever pinpointed it to me and said, "Oh, that is a shame spiral, and you don't need to feel that shame anymore." And so it was actually through um, the process, the journey of this walk of faith, where I was just really immature in Christ, like I was a babe, and when I would go through the shame cycle, I would do the repentance, I would do the confession to whoever I had to, and I would go to my church elders and they would pray over me. And boy, was that so helpful. It really just gave me the tools that I needed to be where I'm at now. And so, what that did though, the shame spirals got less and less in my life, but they still happen and they still come every once in a while. And so I found myself in a shame spiral. And like I said, I didn't really realize it was a shame spiral until I found this channel here on YouTube, and I will link that also, because this information is really, really good. It's the guy's name is Mark DeJesus, and he has a whole playlist on shame, on spiraling, and basically on how to get healing in those areas. And so what I did though was I started watching his videos about shame, and he said something that really touched a deep part of my heart. And what it was that when you're in a shame spiral, you have to look at yourself with compassion. You have to be able to have compassion for yourself, and love for that person that you were, and like nurturing and love yourself, that past version of yourself. Like, you don't want to hate yourself, or disconnect from yourself, or you don't want to be in a place where you're loathing and scared of rejection and all that kind of stuff. And I learned though, through watching those videos, is that shame really seeks to attack your identity. And that's why people have that split, like especially Christian people. They'll be like in this shame. They carry a lot of shame because they look at their old life or their past sin or whatever they did, before they were saved, and they loathe that person. They hate that person. They feel such contempt against that person. They can't see that person the way that God saw that person back then, because God loved that person that they were, even when they were sinning, even when they did, the unthinkable thing. God still loved you. He still nurtured you. He still had compassion for you. And so that was what I had to have for me in my own life, is I had to have compassion and love that person, understand that that person didn't know God, give that person a break, because that was you back then, and just have love and compassion. And where do we get love and compassion? It doesn't just fall out the sky on us. It comes from God. Jesus is our example of love and compassion. Jesus was so full of compassion for people. He was so moved with compassion. Compassion is deep, loving, nurturing. I'm sorry, guys. I'm out here and I hear an ambulance, and I'm sorry about that. But Lord, I hope that you're with them and help them. But the compassion that Jesus has for you and I, in our times of failure, in our times of sin, He's not waiting to beat you up. He's not wanting you to have to punish yourself over and over again, carry the burden over and over again. And so many Christians have this self-righteousness and religious because they want to look like something. They want to look like they earned their salvation. They earned their grade. Like, they want to look like they earned something, because it's so hard for us as people to receive something for nothing. But the more that you draw closer to the Lord, the more that you develop in your identity and character, you'll know that you are receiving grace from the Lord. You're receiving His compassion. And the way that He looks at us, the way that He looks at me, when I was a sinner, God loved me. When you were a sinner, He loved you. So it's definitely a point of growth for me this season, to look at myself with compassion, to look at that girl, that girl that I was, 20 years ago, to look at her with love and compassion. So when you are in a shame spiral, the most important thing that I can say to you today is ask God to show you his heart for you at that time, in that moment. Ask him to show you his love for you. Don't allow shame to spiral you out of your identity, because that's not how God works. That's not your portion. He loves you. You are his. You're his child. He bought you with his precious blood. And so the first step that we are on this journey together is compassion, receiving it from God during times of shame, and being able to extend that compassion and love and grace that God gives us for ourselves. So I hope that this message helps someone today. And you all, I will see you next time. Be blessed.